All right, so aim 6.2, what are the main beliefs behind Hinduism? So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to answer that question mostly. Here we go. All right, I'll give you a second. All right, so for each of the major religions that we study, we're going to take a look at a couple different things. We're going to try to, whenever possible, look at origin, like where did this religion come from? How did it start? We're going to look at sacred text, major beliefs, thoughts about the afterlife. Those are kind of some of the common threads that we'll see kind of across all these religions. So for Hinduism, origin, it is the oldest of the world's major religions. Hinduism dates all the way back to River Valley civilizations. So we talked about, when we did River Valleys, we talked about the caste system and the untouchables. Remember all that? All of that whole social system is a function of the Hindu religion. So this is prevalent way back. So it starts in India, Indus River Valley, and India's 80% of the population are Hindu. There's 1.3 billion people in India, so that's like there's basically a billion Hindus in India. So that's pretty crazy number. It is the second most populous country in the world behind China. So the vast majority of India is Hindu. The rest of it is mostly Muslim and some Christian. We'll later on in the year we'll talk about the split between India and Pakistan and how that was kind of based on religion also, but that's for another time. But suffice it to say, origin of Hinduism is India, and there's like a billion of them. And there's some others spread around the world too, but mostly in India. All right, I'll give you a second here. All right, so major beliefs. They have some interesting ideas about the afterlife. Mostly, you get reincarnated over and over and over and over and over again. But also, in the end, there's also several heavens and several hells after that cycle of death and rebirth over and over again. So the idea is reincarnation. You are continuously reborn. In the belief of reincarnation. So the way it works is, if you remember the caste system, the different classes, each class had a function, right? There was Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, and then untouchables at the bottom. So what happens when you get reincarnated is based on how you act in this life, right? So if you are a shopkeeper, your job is to be the best shopkeeper that you can be. And that is how you accumulate karma. Okay. You guys have heard of the word karma before? Yeah. So the idea behind, we use karma differently. We use karma as just like doing good deeds kind of brings karma, right? Like it's kind of positive equity sort of, right? But the way they use karma is how well you play your part. So if your job is to clean bathrooms, you be the best bathroom cleaner that you can be. That's how you accumulate karma. You don't try to overreach your position and try to do things that are not meant for you to be doing. That does not get you karma, right? So the idea is, if you do your job as well as you could possibly do it, you accumulate karma. When you die and you are reborn, you will be reborn into a higher class. So if you were a Sudra, when you die and you do a great job being a Sudra, when you die and you are reborn, you'll be reborn into a higher class, either Vaishya or Kshatriya or Brahmin, etc. Right? And the idea is that you keep doing this life after life after life until you eventually reach the pinnacle, and then you kind of break free of this cycle of rebirth, and then you reach like nirvana, they call it, right? So now the flip side is true. If you do a bad job being whatever class you are in this life, when you are reincarnated, you'll be reincarnated as a lower class. Well, what if you're low class already and you do a bad job? Okay, well then you're reincarnated as, cricket. Yeah. Well, they are, I'm half joking, but I'm half not, right? Well, that's Jainism, and there's other religions that do that, right? But Hinduism, they believe in there's spiritual elements to all creatures and stuff. So you can come back as, coronavirus bacteria. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that. So that's their ideas about kind of reincarnation and karma. So the other thing that we will take a look at with each religion is, what is the sacred text? I think a lot of us are familiar with the sacred text of, like, Christianity, for instance. We know what the Bible is, right? But almost every religion has some kind of sacred text. So for Hindus, the sacred text is called the Vedas. And it's really like songs, chants, hymns, things like that, prayers. And it's written in Sanskrit. And we went over Sanskrit when we did Indus River Valley. That is their written and spoken language that is based on an alphabet. So when we play word association with sacred text and Hinduism, we should be talking about the Vedas for sure. Last slide. So one of the vocab words we gave you last aim was animism. So the Hindus, being the oldest of the major religions, we said it dates all the way back to River Valley civilization and some of those really primitive cultures. They have certain animistic beliefs as part of Hinduism. For example, they believe that the Ganges River is sacred, and a lot of people go and bathe themselves in it. And it's almost like the Hindu version of baptism, kind of. You're kind of purifying your soul. Hindus that are displaced from India, from around, and kind of end up in other parts of the world, a lot of them have Ganges River water in like a bottle or some kind of container. Well, they do all kinds of stuff with it, but um, you know, they do that in Catholicism too. Like holy water. My buddy's mom is from Guatemala, and she was big on the holy water. And he tricked her one day, and she had it in a glass on top of her fridge, and he played a trick on her one day, and he switched the glass with another one. And then he walked up to her while she was in the kitchen, and he took the glass and he drank the whole thing right in front of her, and she freaked out. And then he finally told her, like, "Oh, I'm joking. This is really the." They're pretty funny. So Ganges is kind of, that's the deal. So those are those animistic kind of beliefs that come into play here that are part of Hinduism. In addition to all the other beliefs, they do have some of that animism at work there also.